14.
Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your News at 9. Official soap Money convinces people to come forward with tips on the whereabouts of 2 jail escapees.
Taxpayers across the area are about to see an increase in their personal property taxes. I'm Zach Dodge with how the current housing market could impact that more in the future. Coming up.
Multiple people are dead after a gunman opens fire at a rail yard in San Jose, California. I'm Claudia Cowan. I'll have the details just ahead.
Doug Eddy has weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. A 17-year-old girl rescued from a house fire in Lowell, Kansas, has died. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says the victim, Brianne King, had just graduated high school. She died yesterday, one day after the fire. According to the Baxter Springs Fire Department, police officer and firefighter Seth Brown got there first in his patrol vehicle. He went inside the burning home with another person from the home and rescued the victim. Fort Scott, Kansas Economic Development Director is suing the city, alleging discrimination based on her sex. Rachel Pruitt claims one of the city's commissioners treated her differently than her male counterparts by spreading false rumors, signaling her out for criticism, and threatening her job. In June of last year, Pruitt was charged with possession of marijuana and possession of paraphernalia, charges she claims are bogus. She was placed on unpaid leave for a short period. The day after she was charged, Pruitt filed a charge of discrimination with the Kansas Human Rights Commission based on sex discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. In the suit, Pruitt calls Commissioner Kevin Allen, quote, my primary harasser, accusing him of making false rumors of affairs and harassing her based on her sex. We reached out to the city, who had no comment, as well as Commissioner Allen and Pruitt's attorney, but they have not responded. You can find the full complaint on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Meteorologist Doug Eddy joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Hot and humid today, man.
Yeah, I got up there all the way up to 86 degrees for an afternoon high. Plus the humidity kind of high started at 63, 86 for a high. Average high is 80, so well above where we should be for this time of the year. Not too much going on. A lot of clouds across the region. We are watching thunderstorms out to the west. That a few of these may try to sneak in late tonight into tomorrow morning, but most of the action, at least through the evening and the overnight hours, is going to stay to the west of the region. We'll see some thunderstorms trying to get in toward Kansas City late tonight into tomorrow morning, and then we'll start to get thunderstorms popping up by mid to late morning. So, of course, we're going to break the entire day down for you coming up here in just a bit.
And a lot to talk about, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Doug, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Home values across 4 states are up. That's good for people hoping to sell their homes now, but could have an impact on everyone's pockets a few years down the road. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the story.
Home prices as of this morning when I pulled it are on average up 13%.
Jonathan Lundy with the Lundy Homes team at Keller Williams says home values have gone up faster than many have ever seen.
We're up from 149,000 to 170,000 on average.
With interest rates in the low single digits, the housing market just keeps getting hotter, where homes sell within days of hitting the market and oftentimes selling for more than the asking price.
It really is a great market for the seller and for the buyer.
There is quite a few increases.
That was Newton County Assessor Cheryl Perkins, who's getting ready to let many homeowners know that their assessed valuation has increased, leading to a higher property tax.
This year, being 2021, is reassessment, so we are required by state to have values as close to market value as we can.
But they're using sales letters from 2019 to determine the valuation for 2021. Meaning what's happening in the housing market now could cause an increase in 2023 if the market doesn't start to level out.
I wouldn't have any way of estimating how much of an increase it would be. I would hope not much because I don't like, to make it rough on the taxpayer.
She says we'll have to see what happens over the next several months to know what we might see in 23. And for realtors, they hope there's not a significant drop because increases like we're seeing won't go on forever.
Locally, there's a lot of industry coming to town. There's a lot of things that have happened. Factories, there are jobs here. And so locally, we hope that trajectory will continue. Maybe it slows, maybe it plateaus, but hopefully it's not a drop.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Perkins says that letters telling people their new assessed valuation should be going out toward the beginning of June. Authorities in Anderson, Missouri say 2 suspects in a shooting surrendered today. Police say the shooting happened yesterday around 8:30 p.m. on Stevens Drive, and when officers arrived, they found a man with gunshot wounds who was taken to the hospital where he later passed away. Authorities say the man got into a fight with 2 other men who claimed he was hiding someone they were looking for. At some point, that fight escalated to gunfire from both sides. The 2 suspects ran, but after being identified, an attorney arranged the surrender of both men. Official charges have not yet been filed. There's now a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrests of Michael Martzloff and Mark Hopkins II. Cherokee County Sheriff says they escaped the jail in Columbus through a plumbing system late Monday night. The men are considered armed and dangerous. Hopkins was in jail in connection with a June double homicide, and Martzloff was held on felony narcotic charges. Anyone with information should contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office and do not attempt to approach these men directly. A Kentucky man is sentenced for molesting an underage family member in Neosho, Missouri. Authorities say 71-year-old John Hartle of Williamstown, Kentucky, let's try that again, Williamstown, Kentucky, molested a child who was a member of his family. Hartle was convicted of first-degree child molestation and is sentenced to 10 years in prison. Multiple people are dead after a shooting at a rail yard in California today. Police and fire crews responded to the scene as the FBI looks for a motive. Fox News correspondent Claudia Cohen has more.
My mom called me this morning saying that there was a shooting going on.
Terrifying moments at a light rail yard in San Jose, California on Wednesday. A gunman opening fire, at least 8 people killed. Authorities say the gunman is also deceased.
This still is an ongoing investigation. We do have multiple agencies here helping us out with law enforcement side.
The incident unfolded at the Valley Transportation Authority rail facility at around 6:30 a.m. local time. Santa Clara County Sheriff's officials say they received multiple 911 calls of shots fired. Deputies arrived on scene to learn of multiple injuries and casualties, including VTA employees. Authorities say the suspected shooter was also a VTA employee, and that's likely how he had access to the building.
There was a rescue operation, so pretty much we formed multiple tactical teams that came into the building to extricate victims out.
A bomb squad was on scene working to clear the building after explosive devices were reportedly found inside. The VTA provides transit throughout Santa Clara County. VTA Chairman Glenn Hendricks says trains were already out on their morning trips when the shooting happened. Light rail service was suspended as the investigation took place.
VTA is a family. People in the organization know everyone. This is a terrible tragedy, and we will do everything we can to help people get through this.
FBI agents are also on scene to help local officials process the crime scene and determine a motive. In San Jose, California, Claudia Cowen, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Norman Alloway served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 45. Native of Altamont, Kansas, Alloway was an expert rifleman, earned a Bronze Star. We are proud to thank First Lieutenant Norman Alloway. He's tonight's 4 state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Frontenac softball team aiming for its 3rd title in 6 years. Gonna hear from the team in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. Kind of warm, actually, all the way up to 86 degrees, so a very warm afternoon. Also kind of humid, so it made it feel a little bit on the sticky side as we worked through the daytime hours. Great time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, but you can see a lot of cumulus clouds throughout the day, but in general, pretty good day. Temp still pretty good, 76 in Yates Center, 74, Miami 76. In Pittsburgh, Neosho, most of us mid-70s. I don't think we'll drop off too much for us tonight, maybe 68 degrees or so. Humidity is at 79%. All right, a lot of clouds have worked in over the past couple hours just due to the thunderstorms out to our west, which are producing a lot of clouds across the Central Plains, but you can see these stretching really from the panhandles and then of Oklahoma and Texas, one little cell just to the north of Wichita, which we'll see if it can hold together, and then a big complex is coming together across Nebraska that will slide mainly north of us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. But these storms out here could affect us by morning. I wouldn't think they would be severe, but could get in here late tonight into tomorrow morning. All right, let's go through time. For us tonight, mainly just clouds. Thunderstorms mainly stay to our north, but watch how they start to develop back toward the west as we go through the morning hours, and then you can see them trying to push in late morning into the early afternoon. So we'll get this first band that rolls through. So this is early afternoon. Some of these down through extreme southwestern parts of Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, could be strong to low grade severe. So we're going to watch that. But it looks like this first band is really going to help us out because this is going to overwork the atmosphere as it works through. So here's 430 way back along the front. We'll start to get thunderstorms firing up again, but they're going to have a kind of a hard time getting going because this first band really takes all the energy away. They will start to get going as we get through the evening hours, so 5, 6, 7, and most likely become severe. But if we didn't have this first band, these could be a lot worse. So that first band's really going to help us out during the morning hours. Then we got spotty, scattered, severe storms throughout the evening, and then most of this action starts to work out of here after midnight tomorrow night. So we do have a severe threat. We do have an elevated threat. But I think that first band of showers and thunderstorms late morning into the early afternoon is greatly going to help us out. I'll still keep all of our threats the same, really from 2 p.m. the first band to the last band. We'll elevate tornado threat, which I'm not extremely concerned about. Hail, wind, and rain will keep on the high threat. But overall, this isn't looking like a huge event, but still something we want to watch as we go into tomorrow. 82, scattered thunderstorms, a couple periods throughout the day. Then we clear out. It looks really good through the holiday weekend. We're going to have plenty of sunshine, almost kind of cool for Memorial weekend, as we'll be into low to mid 70s, and then chances for thunderstorms returning early next week.
Certainly a day tomorrow to watch Doug Hetty. Nick Kelly's going to be helping you. Michael Hayslip earlier in the day.
Yeah, and hopefully it won't be too bad.
Yeah, so. Hopefully. Doug Hetty, thank you. Coming up, very partisan talks in D.C.
The latest on negotiations for an infrastructure package. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. Plus, what lawmakers and financial experts are saying about the threat of inflation. All that coming up.
It's official. Amazon has reached a deal to acquire MGM Studios. They're paying more than $8 billion, and they get the James Bond franchise and other films like The Pink Panther. The deal will add a catalog of more than 4,000 movies and 17,000 shows to Amazon's portfolio. Talks continue on Capitol Hill and at the White House to find an agreement on infrastructure legislation. Democrats have warned they are willing to continue negotiations for a little while longer, but will move on alone if they can't reach an agreement. Fox's Lauren Blanchard breaks down the story from D.C.
Republicans are planning to almost double their initial infrastructure offer to the White House, but it's still less than half of what President Biden originally wanted for his, quote, once-in-a-generation spending bill.
If we're serious about infrastructure in this country and want to prepare to be competitive in the 21st century, we shouldn't do it half-hearted.
The new GOP offer is expected to be rolled out Thursday. It comes in at $1 trillion spent over 8 years. It's paid for with money left over from the massive coronavirus bills passed over the last year.
Around $1 trillion, I think you get a lot of bipartisan support. If Biden wants a bipartisan deal on infrastructure, he'll get one.
President Biden had wanted to raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28% as a way to pay for the bill. Republicans said they were unwilling to roll back the 2017 tax cuts. The latest offer from the White House is $1.7 trillion, down from $2.3 trillion. Republicans are also worried with the trillions in spending, inflation will soon hit Americans' wallets.
This is a kitchen table issue going on all across our country right now. People are worried about inflation. We have got to stop this reckless spending.
Financial experts say the economy is strengthening, but inflation is also on the rise, and that government spending comes with a warning.
If that money is wasted, is not productively spent, we will have more inflation, less productivity, slower growth.
We're told a bipartisan group of lawmakers is working on the side to come up with yet another infrastructure offer in case talks break down between Republicans and the White House. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Just ahead, separated families.
A government watchdog report finds some illegal immigrants were forced to leave their own kids behind as they were deported. I'm Marianne Rafferty. I'll have the latest on that story straight ahead.
While this pandemic caused folks a lot of stress, still going on, right? It may have also saved lives. Suicides dipped 9% at the heart of the pandemic, the height of it, while suicide rates have increased most years since 1999. 2020 was an exception, with suicides declining roughly 5.5%. Now, one possible reason is access to more mental health services through telehealth. Another possibility is employers paid more attention to employees' mental health during the pandemic. Government officials say a new report goes against previous statements made by the Trump administration that illegal immigrants were willing to part with their kids at the border once they were deported. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has the latest findings and more on one mother's journey to be reunited with her children after 4 years apart.
Hundreds of illegal immigrants deported out of the U.S. were forced to leave their own children behind against their will. That's according to a report from the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General, who cited almost 400 instances during the Trump administration where migrants did not agree to be separated from their kids. Those children were either sent to relatives already in the States or taken into federal custody while their parents were sent back over the border. For migrants like Keldy Mabel Gonzalez Breve, this pain is all too familiar. She fled Honduras with her 2 children back in 2017, but they were apprehended by border agents in New Mexico. Under President Trump's zero-tolerance policy, Keldy was arrested, prosecuted, and forced to leave the U.S. She was separated from her kids who were sent to live with family in Pennsylvania. It's been roughly 4 years, but under President Biden, she has temporary permission to re-enter the country and be reunited with her kids.
I cry tears of joy. I cry from so much emotion, so much happiness.
Although many of Trump's immigration policies have been reversed under President Biden, border officials are continuing to issue warnings to anyone thinking of coming into the country illegally.
The message is simple: don't do it.
Meanwhile, the Biden administration continues to allow unaccompanied minors to remain in the U.S. Critics say this creates opportunities for migrant parents to send their kids alone across the border. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, the Hallmark Channel introducing us to a new rosé. Cheers to go along with those tear jerkers. Going to learn more when we come back. All right, the channel known for its iconic romantic comedies finally getting its Hallmark drink. The Hallmark Channel just announced it's releasing Cheers Rosé Seltzer. Each can packs quite the punch, providing 8.4% alcohol. Now, according to the company, Hallmark has been working on this for years, trying to perfect a unique wine-based seltzer. Now, right now, you can grab a 4-pack online at hallmarkchannelwines.com. hallmarkchannelwines.com. The word was cutting off in the prompter there. I haven't been drinking, I promise. hallmarkchannelwines.com. For about $16 later on. A more commercial retail launch is expected to come soon. There you go. I must admit, that's a pretty good name. Good marketing. Cheers. Rosé Seltzer. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
A Joplin area pharmacy will soon be hosting a vaccination clinic for ages as young as 12. You'll hear what the pharmacist and a Joplin area parent has to say about it coming up.
Plus, going to tell you about a triple cheeseburger challenge in Jasper, Missouri, and if that challenge was defeated.
Here on Fox 14.
More vaccination clinics are going towards younger people now that the FDA recently authorized the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for kids as young as 12. KAOM's Mike Mahoney spoke to a local pharmacist who will soon be vaccinating 12-year-olds and up. Also a local parent to see if her kids will be getting the shot.
Alyssa Whittington is a Webb City mom whose kids aren't old enough to get vaccinated against COVID-19. But even if they were, Alyssa would still want to know more.
I do vaccinations, but it's kind of a wait and see type thing right now.
With the FDA's recent approval of the Pfizer vaccine for the 12 to 15 age group, the Joplin area's Stone's Corner Pharmacy will soon be hosting a vaccination clinic for ages 12 and up. But they want to do more than just that. The pharmacy's owner also wants his team to be a source of information for parents and guardians with questions about kids and the COVID-19 vaccine. And he knows some of those queries can get personal.
Did you take it? Yes, I did. And we got it as soon as we were available. And the same with children. Would you give it to your kids? Well, my kids aren't in the age range, but they're 5, 7, and 9. But if they were, I would be fine with giving it to my kids. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's what people want to know.
The Stone's Corner team is also happy to go over the latest data from the CDC, FDA, and other reputable health organizations with parents concerned about their kids and coronavirus vaccines. But they also understand many people want to do the research themselves. And for them, the pharmacy team has some advice.
The biggest way to tell if something is a reputable site, generally they will cite the references.
Alyssa Whittington may not be bringing her kids to Stone's Corner's next vaccination clinic, but she wants to learn more before her kids are old enough and she has to make a decision.
I would listen and I'd be willing to understand, but as far as doing them, I'm still unsure.
Fortunately, she's got experts in her own backyard. In Webb City, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Stone's Corner Pharmacy will be offering the Pfizer vaccine for ages 12 and up this Friday at its Webb City location from 2 to 6:30 p.m. Appointments are required, and those under the age of 18 will need a parent or guardian's permission. Special Olympics New Hope in Pittsburgh today hosted a track and field competition. Special Olympics athletes participated in several activities at Pitt State's Plaster Center. Some of the athletes we talked to are glad to be back and just having fun.
I just came back from being with my grandma for a year due to COVID, and it feels great being back here. It feels more than great being outside doing the thing that we love to do, and it's been, I think, longer than 10 years since we've been on this field.
That's awesome. We're proud of you guys. Now, if you want to see more of our interview with these athletes, we've put it on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Randy Santel is a professional eater. He likes pushing the limits. Good gosh, as you're seeing right there. His latest challenge happened at Judy's Truck Stop in Jasper, Missouri. Santel's mission? Well, 30 minutes to finish 3 one-pound cheeseburgers plus 1 pound of fries and a 32-ounce drink.
Well, the big kind of fun with everything on the early days was it was a fun motivation to keep on exercising, because I knew that if I kept on doing challenges and didn't exercise, I would get like I am now. But now is because I just do so many food challenges.
All right, so what do you think happened, huh? Santel finished the meal in 14 minutes, 40 seconds. Yeah, good job, man. You can visit YouTube and check out Randy Santel's previous food eating challenges. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading home after a whirlwind trip to the Middle East. He met with Egyptian and Jordanian leaders about how to make the lives of Israelis and Palestinians better. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin reports from Jerusalem.
All of this does go to building things.
On the heels of meetings in Egypt, Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended the Biden administration's pledge to provide some $360 million to the Palestinians, including $40 million in additional aid. He says it's cash to help the Palestinians rebuild following 11 days of violence, which left more than 250 people dead and caused devastation in the Gaza Strip.
If we want to avoid a return to the harrowing violence of recent weeks, the countries of this region need to help and support one another.
But in Gaza City, a top Hamas leader warned the region could see a, quote, big religious war and widespread chaos if Israel does not stop attempting to occupy the area. Yet Secretary Blinken says positive change is being made.
We've had in Egypt a real and effective partner in dealing with the violence, bringing it to a close relatively quickly, and now working closely together to try to build something positive as we move forward.
Back in Washington, Republican lawmakers want to make certain that one thing does not change, that the U.S. remains a staunch backer of longtime ally Israel.
Historically, support for Israel has been bipartisan.
The White House says President Biden is putting his faith in diplomacy.
Those type of conversation is probably best, as you can imagine, to have it quietly.
Both Egypt and Qatar have each pledged $500 million towards reconstruction, with Secretary Blinken saying in the coming days he'll be meeting with leaders in the Gulf region about the next steps. In Jerusalem, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
A bit later, getting back to normal has a totally different meaning for some people.
The pandemic has prevented some Americans from returning home. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on the pathway back to the States, even on expired documents. That's coming right up.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Wednesday for us today. We had plenty of sunshine through the morning hours, some clouds during the afternoon, but temperature's great as we went into the mid 80s. Almost, it was kind of hot outside, and we had the humidity, which was cranking in. Great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps right now, most of us still sitting mid 70s. We're only going to drop back 68, 69, 70 degrees for us tonight, so it's going to be a very mild night. And we're dry right now, currently sitting at 76. Humidity is at 79%. All right, a lot of clouds have been moving in. This is due to the storms out to the west. We are going to have a lot of clouds throughout the overnight hours, but I really don't think these guys are really going to make it here. I think this cluster will most likely kind of fall apart. This cluster in Nebraska, which is tracking east, will kind of stay mainly to our north, but the southern cluster will try to get in here during the morning hours. Late morning, everything's going to kind of redevelop, but most of the night's going to be fine. We'll drop back upper 60s to near 70. All right, here's 7:30 in the morning. We have thunderstorms to our north, kind of stretching back through central Kansas, and then they really kind of get going on top of us late morning into the early afternoon. Some of these could pack a pretty good punch, some large hail, some gusty winds. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have severe thunderstorm warnings late morning into the early afternoon. It doesn't look tornadic, but it does look like some of these could produce some large hail and gusty winds. As we go through the afternoon, this first batch is going to pull east and then back along the cold front. We'll get additional thunderstorms. This first batch will overwork the atmosphere for several hours, not allowing any thunderstorms to get going. But as we get into the evening, then we'll start to see additional storms right along the front. And then these as well could be strong to severe, main threat, gusty winds, and also some large hail. But that first batch, because we're going to have 2 rounds, will help us out a little bit with the second batch, meaning it will keep these from being too big, even though they will most likely still be severe. So large hail, gusty winds, main threat. These push through during the evening hours and then pretty much out of here by the time we head, let's say, midnight. Friday looks pretty good. We get sunshine back, quite a bit cooler. High temps right around 70. All right, so an elevated severe threat tomorrow. But again, I think that first batch is going to help us out. We'll keep the tornado threat a little lower. It's still elevated, but lower. But the higher threats are going to be hail, wind, and rain as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours. All right, 82 for us tomorrow. Depending on that first batch, we may not make it to 82. 71 on Friday, 70 on Saturday, 74 on Sunday. So the holiday weekend setting up pretty good.
Yeah. As you always say, it's May.
It is.
It's May.
But this May has been very atypical. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Doug Heddy, thank you. Coming up in sports, Frontenac baseball and softball teams preparing to head to Manhattan for states, plus national honors for Missouri Southern pitcher Zach Parrish. Jacob Leder has that and more next.
The Frontenac softball team won a regional championship last week, earning their spot in the 3A state tournament. Now the Raiders will hit the road to Manhattan tomorrow, aiming to finish off their 3rd title run under head coach Cassie Rooms. The Frontenac Raiders are aiming for their third state championship since 2016.
We know what our goals are and what we need to do to get there, and we're going out there with the mentality that we're bringing it back, so that's what we're going to do.
The Raiders have just 2 players on the roster from the 2019 title team, so for most of them, it will be their first time on the big stage.
It's a great experience, and I just tell them they just need to play like they all know how to, but to just be excited that we get to, because it's a great opportunity and not very many people get to do it.
We have big moments in practice. We have pressure situations in practice, that where we put that added pressure on them and things like that, and man, the fans were so full at our regional tournament. I don't think that they're going to have a fuller packed stands than we did at the regional tournament.
It is a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think that she's prepared us a lot, and I think that we'll be ready for it.
Frontenac can swing it, but they're a team built on defense.
I feel like defense is something that you are in completely control of, and so it's just something in our program that we drill day in and day out. Your defense is going to win this for you, all right?
I don't have to strike everyone out. I know I can trust my defense a lot to make plays.
I've told these kids from the get-go, if we can play 21 outs, 7 innings of relentless defense, you're going to give yourself a chance to be successful, and I think that they did that in the regional tournament.
Chemistry has also been key.
Everyone gets excited for everybody. That's the biggest thing. No matter what happens, everyone's excited for their teammates, and it's not even though girls are still competing for spots, it's still one big family.
Frontenac heads to Manhattan on a 14-game winning streak. With just 3 more, they'll come back home with a 3rd championship in 6 years.
I think we're taking that momentum and that energy and taking that with us to the state tournament, and we're leaving on the right foot. Great job! Let's go! If we get out there and we do the little things and play the defense that I know we're capable of playing, I think we're going to give ourselves a good shot.
Frontenac is the 6th seed in the 3A bracket. They'll face Silver Lake in the first round tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in Manhattan. The Frontenac baseball team also headed to state. They're the 4th seed in the 3A tournament and will face 5th-seeded Heston tomorrow night in Manhattan. Now the Raiders are hot at the right time. Frontenac's won 12 games in a row heading to the state tournament.
When we're hot, we stay hot. We're ready to go. I feel like we've been out of it too long. We're ready to get back in the game.
I think they have a lot of confidence right now. They're comfortable with each other. I think their team, they see how things have worked, and they've really grown into their roles, and we're comfortable as a team. They trust each other, they believe in each other, and we come together really well as a team the last several weeks.
Missouri Southern's Zach Parrish has been named the Division II National Pitcher of the Year and a first-team All-American. Parrish became the Division II leader in career strikeouts this season, ending his career with 488. Just in the last few weeks, he's been named the MIAA Pitcher of the Year, the Central Region Pitcher of the Year, and a first-team All-MIAA selection. The St. Louis Cardinals wrap up their 3-game series with the White Sox today. The Cards are aiming to avoid the sweep after dropping each of the first 2. A big day for that dude right there, Tommy Edman, here in the 3rd. Lifts this one up and out for the solo home run. Cards have the first run of the day. Later on in the 8th, Edman back to work. His 2nd jack of the day, 4th of the season. All St. Louis this afternoon. Cards avoid the sweep 4-0. In the American League, Game 2 of the series between the Royals and the Rays this evening. Kansas City won the opener last night and won 5 of their last 6. Tonight, though, went into extra innings. The Rays win on a walk-off 2-1. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Americans with expired passports now have a way back into the country, but for a limited time. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has more on the Biden administration's new passport exemption and who qualifies for the return home.
Citizens stranded abroad because of recently expired passports can now return home using the out-of-date document. The Biden administration adjusting travel policies Tuesday, saying delays in processing passports have been another negative side effect of the pandemic.
It's been much more difficult to quickly renew a passport. Whether because of rules on the ground at consulates and embassies abroad, simply the ability of the U.S. government to process things during COVID when they haven't had as many people in office.
But not every expired passport is valid for this exemption. According to the State Department, eligible passports must have expired on or after January 1st, 2021. And Americans will only be allowed to
return home to the U.S. not making any other stopovers, and not really leaving the U.S. again until they do get that passport renewed.
And for those looking to travel back home, the State Department has a warning. The agency is doubling down on mandatory mask policies on board airplanes, saying although the CDC has given fully vaccinated people clearance to travel, federal law still requires you to wear a face covering on public transportation.
We're not going to tolerate behavior that threatens the well-being of the public, the employees that bravely are on the front lines to facilitate the travel.
As for those Americans qualifying to re-enter the country on expired passports, time is of the essence. They have until December 31st before the policy runs out. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Going to preview a new season of Lego Masters when we come back. Creativity, imagination, and competition of Lego Masters returns to Fox. We spoke with host Will Arnett for a preview of the new season. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Lego Masters Season 2 takes the competition to the next level, including with 5 million Lego pieces for builders to choose from.
They just brought incredible skill and imagination, and the challenges got tougher. And they really met the challenges and just once again exceeded our expectations.
Will Arnett found his role is both host and coach.
I'm there to be the cheerleader, and I really realize that's kind of my role. And I want all the teams to do well. These teams are playing for $100,000, and this title, this could open a lot of doors for them in the Lego world.
He's seen how the series became family viewing time in his house and others.
My kids were around a lot when I shot season 1, so they were there on set a ton. And even though they knew how the show went down and they were there for so much of it, they still loved to watch it. And then, you know, of course, I heard from so many people, and not just people on social media and all that kind of stuff, the usual sort of show busy ways. So many people in my life. The pressure. It came out at a time that was really a kind of a difficult time too. And I think that it injected a little bit of levity and some good family bonding time. And that's what Lego's all about.
So get ready for more incredible creations and possibly some awesome encores too.
We had a fashion show where teams had to build a hat. We had teams had to build a castle sticking out from a wall, only using 2 studded pieces. We have a demolition derby.
Did you get to smash anything?
If you like the smash component of Lego, you're going to have fun watching this season.
Roll up those sleeves because we got to take it to the extreme.
Lego Masters Season 2 premieres June 1st on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with a video of lemurs in Thailand enjoying some music. Look at them. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.